Hi, this is Michael Weir. I'm recording this message just a couple days before the Alabama special election, and I'd like to speak directly to Christians in Alabama, fellow brothers and sisters in Christ, and request that on Tuesday you stand up and say no to Roy Moore. That it's time for Christians to say no more. I can make this argument to you on a political basis. If you are thinking of supporting Roy Moore because you think that he will advance your values on life or religious freedom, I would argue to you that having Roy Moore in the U.S. Senate will do much more to harm those causes than to help them. Roy Moore is so toxic that whatever he touches will become toxic with him. Alabama's Republican senior senator, the man that you elected, Richard Shelby, has said that he would not support and will not vote for Roy Moore. If your own senator is saying that, who is going to co-sponsor pro-life legislation with Roy Moore? Who is going to want to stand by him as he advocates for religious freedom? So even on a policy basis, the things you want to accomplish will not be accomplished with Roy Moore. But those political reasons are secondary. I'm asking you to say no to Roy Moore because he will do great harm to the Christian witness in this country. Rightly or wrongly, I've made the argument that the poor examples of Christians in politics should do nothing to obscure the perfect example of Christ. And I'll continue to make that argument. But the fact of the matter is that if someone like Roy Moore is elected in a state like Alabama, an overwhelmingly Christian state, you're sending a message about Christ's influence in your life. You're sending a message as an ambassador of Christ about who and what you think you're representing. And Roy Moore is someone who time and time again has made clear that he treasures making enemies of his neighbors. He treasures making enemies of his neighbors. And that can't be the kind of voice that we elect to higher office. No matter what political analysis is involved, we can't put in office someone who has been credibly accused of sexual abuse of minors. We can't put in office someone who shows such utter disregard for history and for his neighbors as to make an apologetic case for slavery, for the good of slavery in the state of George Wallace. And so I wish that we had more time together. I wish that we could talk this over. I wish that we could have a conversation. But for now, all I can do is send this message that on Tuesday, I hope that you'll say no to Roy Moore. If I was an Alabaman, I would do. I would vote in the most effective way to make sure that Roy Moore does not represent me in my state, and that is to vote for Doug Jones. Doug Jones is the only alternative to Roy Moore. And unlike Roy Moore, though Doug Jones has positions that I disagree with, and I've written about those, and I'll continue to speak out about those, the difference between the two is that Roy Moore is running as an exemplar of Christ. He is saying that his victory would be a victory for Christ. Doug Jones is making no such claim. If Doug Jones wins this election, no one will be confused about where Alabama voters stand on life. People will just assume that people who care about life were not willing to put in office a man credibly accused of sexual abuse to advance that cause. Doug Jones will not be serving a full Senate term. He'll be serving through by 2020. And if Alabama voters send the message to the Republican Party that they can't just throw up any candidate who claims to be pro-life, claims to be a warrior for Christian values, then you'll have the opportunity in 2020 to make sure to elect a pro-life candidate while making clear to the state and to the country that you weren't willing to be represented by Roy Moore. I hope you'll make that decision. For Christians watching this video, I hope that you'll make your own video asking your brothers and sisters in Alabama to say no to Moore. You could make the video and share it on social media using the hashtag ChristiansSayNoMore. Tuesday is going to be an important day. Going to be an important day for the country, and it's going to be another milestone in the story of Christian witness in politics that's been unfolding over this last year. And I hope Alabama voters will make the right choice by not sending Roy Moore to the U.S. Senate. Thank you.